Ladies and gentlemen, the Gojo stocks are rising again. Sukuna has admitted that his body is missing and Shoko is most likely healing him. But that's not our only theory that's coming true. Yuji has unlocked the reverse curse technique and has the strongest soul. Yuta has returned.
This is exactly what I've been waiting for.
Oh, and Sukuna can now instantly destroy the world.
Oh, no.
Sukuna Kaisen continues, with the Executioner's sword amounting to nothing. Yuji's surprise attack could not hit Sukuna as Higuruma died, thus taking the sword away with him. Now, before you label the lawyer as useless, his gamble paid off to some extent. Each fight is slowly dwindling Sukuna's arsenal. Gojo took away Sukuna's domain expansion, a major portion of his curse energy, and the 10 shadows technique. Kashimo then forced him to use his one-time transformation, and now Higuruma took away his curse tool, Kamotoke. So, despite his death, Higuruma's talent was acknowledged by Sukuna himself. However, giving a compliment to Yuji is something he can't bring himself to do. After all, he is Yuji's #1 hater. But why? Those with the notification bell on are one step ahead as always. We covered Sukuna's hatred for Yuji only recently, but Sukuna has now confirmed what he feels after having a midlife crisis. He slashes Yuji, thinking he got rid of him, but it pleases the king to witness that his stomach has already healed. My man Yuji has learned reverse curse technique. Let's go! In the 1-month time skip, our boy spent time training not only a new ability of soul swapping, enhancing his body with curse energy and blood manipulation, but now he's officially contending with the elite sorcerers. Wait. Scratch that. He competes with the king himself. Sukuna acknowledges Yuji as having the strongest soul and ideal that matches his own. This means our analysis has been confirmed. Sukuna despises Yuji the most because he's extremely boring, but now that he has improved, he ponders why he is upset. The purpose of everyone's life is to kill him, but Higuruma's death has left him with an unpleasant feeling, even though the king has never thought about being satisfied by others. As we saw during his fight with Yoruzu, Kashimo, and Gojo, Sukuna couldn't care less about love or other human emotions, bringing us back to Mahito's philosophy of what makes curses in chapter 20, wherein he states that they eat when they're hungry and kill when they hate. Sukuna lives up to the same. Sukuna is doing nothing wrong from his perspective, as he is the predator who is meant to serve his role. He doesn't want others' help to achieve his goals, and all he cares about is how he can use the tools around him in the best way possible, as he himself is the supreme king who doesn't get manipulated or bonded to other desires. Sukuna is the embodiment of being selfish to oneself. And in 1,000 years, nothing has changed at all. His goal is to kill time until he dies, basically calling everyone else a pastime. This is the philosophy that he informed Jogo, that what was holding back the curses was their hunger to take hold of their desires. If Mahito had not been so caught up in his little game with Yuji and not bothering to explain his reasoning, he would have been a fully realized Sukuna as well. Hence, Sukuna states that he only chooses how to live without caring if it's a problem for others below him, which is why he has never wondered about ideals or morality. The hypocrisy of humans is pointed out by Mahito when they consider themselves a superior race because of their intelligence and morality. Because since every being in existence has a soul, even plants, everything is equal. This means a curse and a human both exist as an outcome of nature, just like water flows on Earth. As a result, the moral high ground that humans have built doesn't actually exist, and someone like Sukuna doesn't need to think about it either. However, for Yuji and the others, I will kill Sukuna is the ideal they live by, and for this, they struggle and sacrifice themselves for each other. So it irks Sukuna. Yuji is the opposite side of the coin to him, as as he is the embodiment of selflessness. Instead of living to kill people until his death, similarly, Yuji said he knows the way he will go out and die, but will save as many people as possible. These polar opposite spectrums represents the idea that strength doesn't have to come from being selfish, just like Sukuna, Gojo, or Kashima assume. True Jujutsu can be achieved through the idea of living for the sake of others. Upon Gojo's death, he learns that his selfish nature regarding sorcery could be wrong, and he didn't use it to protect something, which is exactly what Yuji and Yuta are doing. He keeps getting stronger as he chases Sukuna, which makes the king question what he believes and how he sees the world, as Yuji could prove Sukuna might be wrong and the way he lived his life was incorrect this whole time. As a result, Sukuna feels something different this time, which can only be attributed to Yuji himself.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Sukuna explains their souls were intertwined in the same body, even if they both knew the shape of their souls. Yuji's experiences and attitude affected both of them. This links back to Jujutsu Kaisen's philosophy that the body is the soul and the soul is the body. So when the body goes through a change, it impacts the soul as well. Hence, Sukuna suddenly feels aware of people's morals and ideals, making things a bit different from the Heian era. Living in Yuji's body made him realize that ideals are real, and for the first time, he could see them being verified in front of his eyes, as he himself states that Yuji has an invincible soul that will never give up no matter what, as Yuji claimed he will eat anything to kill this dude. This highlights the idea once again that Yuji is the natural calamity to curses with overwhelming aggression, just as Sukuna is for humans. That is why he agrees that their ideals are on equal footing of willpower, but that's deeply unpleasant to acknowledge. In the past, and even now, Sukuna's strength is immaculate beauty. All ideals have always been irrelevant to him. In other words, he became too strong that all of them became meaningless. As a result, the king decides to cut up everyone. But before we move on, let's rewind a little and talk about Gojo's return.
Oh, here we go again.
Sukuna noticed Ui and Kirarara taking care of Higuruma's dead body, realizing he had an instant teleportation technique. And this is where the copium for Gojo's revival comes in. Gojo's body has been taken to Shoko, just as our community predicted. Shoko is the only one left from Gojo's time as a student at Tokyo Jujutsu High, and she's an expert user of the reverse curse technique. Now you might be wondering, ABD, what's so special about her? Well, in the official fan book, Gege, the author himself, compared Shoko to the likes of Yuta and Sukuna. According to the author, only 3 sorcerers are capable of healing others through direct output of positive curse energy using RCT, and these are Yuta, Sukuna, and Shoko. But unlike us, Sukuna doesn't know this, which is why he concludes that since the efficiency of RCT whilst healing others is 50% less than using it on yourself, Shoko might not be that powerful. Well, he is wrong. It's evident that training besides freaks like Gojo and Geto meant that Shoko had to keep up by understanding the workings of RCT in extreme detail. She was the first one to comment after Gojo's awakening that he would fry his brain if he left his curse technique active at all time. In fact, throughout the fight between Sukuna and Gojo, she acutely observed the moments when Gojo's reverse curse technique did or improved and how it would impact him. All this points to the fact that Shoko is actually extremely proficient in healing others and is on a level Sukuna has not yet realized. Another piece of evidence that he is making a wrong assumption is in chapter 234. He assumes that Gojo's hollow purple 200% was boosted by a binding vow, as he didn't know Utahime and Gakuganju were there, which means Utahime can also use her technique of solo forbidden area to amplify the curse energy amount and output for Shoko to heal others even better than before. This perfectly fits into Shoko's statement from chapter chapter 220 that Gojo was an idiot thinking he was all alone. She was there all along to help just like the others, which would make it absolute cinema if she pulls off the impossible to sustain his life. Before Gojo split in half, the manga stated his own reverse curse technique had replenished, which means even if Shoko isn't capable enough to recreate limbs, as she failed to do so with Hana Kurusu, Gojo still could do so if he is given enough strength to go north to be reborn just like Buddha did. Gojo was told that if you want to become a new version of yourself, to go there. The reason he taunted Principal Yaga regarding sorcerers dying with no regrets was in regards to Nanami. Since he was an extreme pessimist who always looked at the past, Nanami chose south without hesitation, stating that he'd bet on the future in his final moments. This meant leaving the world behind and relying on the next generation to handle their own problems. However, as Jujutsu Kaisen has pointed out multiple times, Gojo is the polar opposite of Nanami, which is why if it came down to choosing, Gojo would run towards the north, chasing a better version of himself just like Buddha did after retaining enlightenment. Think about it. Gojo finally got the proper send-off from Geto he yearned for. This is what he admitted was missing when he first went to battle Sukuna, hoping Geto was there to pat him on the back. But with him satisfied now and realizing his loneliness can be cured with his friends reaching his strength, he can now live for the sake of others. But don't want to inhale copium? Another option is for Principal Yaga's curse technique finally coming into play. The plot device of his cursed corpse secret being told to Gakuganji, a living creature could be created with their fallen comrades. Remember, to create an independent cursed corpse, a sorcerer must replicate soul information from physical information, then input that into the core. However, if you're even more of a pessimist, then another option is Gojo was taken to just be buried.
Shut your
Now, just as Sukuna declares to kill everyone, a Kogane announces that a new rule has been added by a player, surprising everyone. This new rule gives the right to invoke the grand merger between Tengen and humanity to Sukuna himself. Sukuna can now do this thing, which will end the whole world at any point in time. Kenjaku's backup plan in case of his death was to pass on this ability to the king, as he declared that his will would be carried on. Kusakabe thinks Sukuna isn't the type to kill all of mankind by all means necessary, as he would end up bored. But boy, was he wrong. In the end, he will relish toying with Tengen and kicking off the merger to face off against the new monster. But before that happens, Yuta is back and he instantly lunges at Sukuna, tanking a dismantle at point blank range. Sukuna delivers his final boss encouragement to the sorcerers to get their acts together or all people they want to save will die. Yuta, just like Yuji, stated he lives to protect and is glad he is blessed with amazing friends that give him purpose. That's why this statement pisses off the queen even more so. Homegirl over here has no fear as she manifests out of nowhere and clutches Sukuna in her hand.
I'm about to end this man's whole career.
Demanding who the heck is he talking to that way? Now that Yuta is on the battlefield, there's some interesting points to look at. Since he can copy curse techniques, Ryu stated that Yuta could use sky manipulation because Rika ate off Uru's arm. Information on the sorcerer plays a role in the copy process, which means Rika could consume the hand Sukuna cut off in order to avoid being killed by the executioner's sword in chapter 247. And let's not forget the domain expansion, which is to be revealed. His girlfriend Maki can enter them undetected and join the fray with Yuji, meaning a 3v1 is on its way, which makes for poetic revenge when Sukuna did the same thing against Gojo. I mean, let's not forget that if Nobara is alive, she can play a crucial role using her resonance ability. She can use this cut-off hand to establish a connection and injure Sukuna. However, since Akutami stated that Sukuna from the Heian era is stronger than awakened Rika, since we're dealing with a cannibal over here, someone will end up being eaten. As the king said, Yuta would be his main dish to enjoy just in this very chapter. Now to enjoy more peak fiction, the time skip in Boruto is getting even better. Boruto has unlocked a new power and is facing off against Mitsuki's Sage Mode for the first time.